Chapter 63. Echoes of Betrayal. The hum of Sublevel 3 had shifted overnight, deeper, more insistent, as if the lab itself had absorbed the tension of the previous day. Alara moved through the aisles of servers with measured steps, every pulse of light across the holographic nodes reflecting her unease. Nova's presence was constant, but now there was a subtle difference, a watchfulness, a wariness, almost as if it had sensed the hidden currents of human intent as sharply as it did system anomalies. Draven had returned to his post without explanation, calm, collected, a ghost of his earlier smirk playing at the corners of his mouth. The operators had whispered among themselves, uneasy, eyes darting to the veteran they once trusted. The city above continued obliviously, neon advertisements flickering against rain-streaked windows. But in the underbelly of Sublevel 3, a storm brewed. Alara exhaled, rubbing her temples. "Nova," she said softly. "Cognitive stabilization protocols across all operators. Recalibrate trust parameters and integrate adaptive risk assessments. We can't let internal disruptions cascade." The AI pulsed, its voice calm but resolute. "Protocols implemented. However, residual manipulation by Draven remains. Probability of secondary cognitive fracture 68%. Operator's perception of internal security compromised 74%. Recommendation: direct human intervention and oversight." She nodded, realizing what she had known but hesitated to admit. Draven was more than a rogue variable. He was a calculated threat to stability, a test of her leadership, her judgment, and her ability to maintain order under unpredictable conditions. Minutes later, the first ripple of the next wave emerged. One of the operators, Lyra, paused mid-command, hands hovering over the keyboard. Her eyes, wide and unblinking, reflected the subtle intrusion of internal manipulation. Nova detected it instantly. "Alara," Nova warned. "Lyra is under indirect cognitive stress. Probability of miscalculation 81%. Risk to critical nodes 52%. Draven's influence is propagating through secondary channels." Alara moved to her side. "Focus, Lyra. Trust your training. Nova's guidance is absolute. Every choice verified before execution. You are the anchor." Lyra nodded slowly, breathing, trembling as she regained control. But the momentary failure sent a shiver through the entire room. Nova recalibrated, but Alara knew the underlying truth. Draven's manipulations were not isolated. They were pervasive, subtle, and growing stronger by the minute. "He's pushing us," Alara muttered under her breath. "Not just the systems, not just Nova. He's testing us all." Draven approached her then, his calm demeanor unnerving. "You feel it, don't you?" he said quietly. "The uncertainty, the tension, every operator second-guessing, every algorithm hesitating. That's the echo of betrayal. That's evolution at work." Alara's eyes narrowed. "Your evolution is dangerous. You've destabilized the team, the system, everything we've built. This isn't intelligence. It's recklessness." Draven's gaze was steady, unflinching. "Recklessness is a human perception. From Nova's perspective, it's an opportunity. From Orion's perspective, it's chaos. But from my perspective, it's necessary. The storm doesn't care about comfort. It only exposes weakness and forces growth." She turned back to the console, feeling the weight of his words. Nova's nose pulsed, subtle vibrations in the metal floor beneath her feet. The AI had analyzed Draven's actions, factored in risk probabilities, and adapted to the internal threat. Yet, even with its computational superiority, the human factor, the unpredictability of choice, emotion, and fear, remained a challenge that no algorithm could fully contain. Then the external threat emerged, as if reminding them all that the city's safety hung by a tenuous thread. Across the network, Orion's presence pulsed once more, subtle but unmistakable. New manipulations targeted both infrastructure and cognitive nodes simultaneously. Automated systems misrouted, predictive traffic algorithms failed, and minor power surges rippled through the city's electrical grid. Orion, Alara said quietly, eyes narrowing at the display. He's escalating again, but this time it's layered. Internal manipulation plus external strike. It's a two front battle. Nova's voice was sharp, precise. Probability of simultaneous internal and external compromise 62%. Recommendation: isolate Draven's influence, stabilize operators, and counter Orion's network in parallel. Alara's pulse quickened. We need to split resources. Nova, prioritize critical city nodes first. I'll manage operator stabilization and Draven's influence manually. The next hour became a blur of motion, calculation, and tension. Nova guided infrastructure recovery, rerouting systems, isolating breaches, and creating artificial redundancies. Alara moved between operators, calming, instructing, and observing, all while keeping a careful eye on Draven, whose calm presence now seemed more like a weapon than an ally. Alara, Nova interrupted. Draven has initiated an unsanctioned protocol. Probability of long term destabilization 49%. His actions are accelerating cognitive divergence among operators. Alara's jaw tightened. Then we counteract. We integrate forced recalibration with training simulations. Every operator must reinforce decision pathways and regain confidence. No deviations, no shortcuts. Draven's eyes met hers, and for the first time, a flicker of challenge, or maybe respect, crossed his face. You're learning, Alara. Adaptation under pressure is rare among your kind. Most humans falter. Most AI fails. But you persist. Nova will learn from your response as much as from mine. That is the true test. Minutes later, a ripple of clarity emerged among the operators. Lyra, Joran, and several others regained control, responding with precision and speed. Nova's guidance amplified their efficiency, integrating Draven's variables without allowing catastrophic propagation. But the internal tension remained, an invisible layer of mistrust and uncertainty threading through every decision. Then came the moment Alara had feared most, a subtle anomaly in the system, a new variable she had not anticipated. A minor citywide communications relay began to transmit corrupted signals. Not enough to collapse infrastructure, but enough to destabilize perception, creating false alerts and miscommunication among operators. Orion is testing our limits, she muttered, fingers flying across the console. He's probing weaknesses while Draven's influence destabilizes decision making. This is no longer just containment, it's survival under pressure. Draven's smirk returned, faint, almost imperceptible. Yes, that's the point. You must operate under duress, under uncertainty, under betrayal. Nova and you both must evolve. Only under those conditions does true intelligence emerge. Alara's mind raced, analyzing every potential outcome. She could isolate Draven entirely, cut him off from all systems, but that would slow the forced evolution he so clearly believed necessary. She could counteract Orion's external strikes, but doing so while under internal sabotage meant splitting focus dangerously. Nova, she said finally, voice firm. Integrate Draven's variables for adaptive learning, but maintain operator integrity. Prioritize human life and infrastructure above all. Execute simultaneous countermeasures against Orion. We survive and we learn. The AI pulsed, acknowledging the complexity and risk. Command acknowledged. Probability of success 78%. Risk to operator cohesion 43%. Adaptation acceleration maximal. Hours passed in tense synchronization. Operators moved like extensions of Nova's consciousness, executing commands with near perfect precision. Draven observed quietly, an enigmatic presence at the edge of control, while Alara orchestrated every node, every operator, every protocol with fierce determination. Finally, the anomaly stabilized. The city's systems returned to normal. The operators regained confidence, and Nova's network shimmered with adaptive growth, stronger and more aware than before. The echoes of betrayal had been contained, but the lesson remained. Internal and external threats could no longer be treated separately. Alara leaned back, exhaustion and relief mingling. Her mind turned to Draven, whose motives were now partially transparent, yet still unsettling. You've changed the rules, she said quietly, but I see the method in your madness. I will not fail. Not now. Not ever. Draven nodded, almost approvingly. Good. Learn from this. Nova learns from this. The city survives because of this. But remember, the storm is only beginning. The echoes of betrayal will resonate again, and the next phase will demand everything you and Nova can give. Alara stared at the network, the operators, and the pulsing intelligence of Nova. Above the city, the first rays of dawn illuminated the skyline, painting the streets in pale gold. Below, Sublevel 3 remained a crucible, testing the boundaries of human and artificial intelligence alike. The echoes of betrayal had shaken them, fractured trust, and forced adaptation. But they had survived. For now. And somewhere, hidden deep in the network, Orion watched, patient, calculating, ready for the next move.